What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandru Ferdinando. Before we get into your stories in detail, let's take a quick look at your headlines.
Cabinet proposal to re-implement the death penalty. A statement by Minister Gamini Jarvikrama Pereira. Fuel prices to be increased with effect from midnight today. Buddhist monk strangles and kills police sergeant in Gallanda, Ratnapura. All 12 members of a Thai youth football team and their coach brought to safety from a cave after 17 days.
First up in local news, a decision has been taken to increase fuel prices with effect from midnight tonight.
Co-Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne said the price of a litre of 92-octane petrol will be increased by 8 rupees and a litre of 95-octane petrol will be increased by 7 rupees. The price of a litre of diesel will be increased by 9 rupees, while a litre of super diesel will be increased by 10 rupees with effect from midnight. The Co-Cabinet spokesperson said fuel prices will be revised on the 10th of every month. The decisions were reached during a special meeting held with President Maithripala Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat this evening.
Meanwhile, Lucky Jayawardena and J.C. Alavathuwala were sworn in as state ministers today.
Lucky Jayawardena was sworn in as the State Minister of Urban Development and Water Supply, while J.C. Alavathuwala was sworn in as State Minister of Home Affairs at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. Lucky Jayawardena previously served as the State Minister of Hill Country New Villages, Infrastructure and Community Development. J.C. Alavathuwala took oaths as the State Minister of the same ministry where he was serving as its Deputy Minister. After the swearing-in ceremony, the Cabinet meeting was held under the auspices of the President.
The death penalty must be re-implemented. If not, everything will be destroyed. The entire cabinet of ministers raised their voices like never before and were of the same stance. The Minister of Justice was instructed to implement this. The Honourable Minister of Justice will submit the proposal to the Prime Minister for it to be implemented. Everyone agreed to it. Nobody was against the proposal. Everyone shouted and expressed their support for the proposal. This is the first time I am seeing this happen. It was a happy moment. There will be so much of destruction if it wasn't approved. We submitted and obtained the approval of the President at the National Economic Council for the national plan regarding the country's power grid.
And now in news from the courts, the Criminal Investigations Department informed the Mount Lavina Magistrates Court today that journalist Keith Noya was assaulted after being taken to the safe house in Baduwatta Dompe. Now, this was informed court based on facts revealed following investigations conducted by the CID.
Mount Lavinia Additional Magistrate Lochana Abevikrama Veerasinghe informed the CID to inquire if steps could be taken to obtain the data and information through the Defence Secretary regarding the safe house in Baduwatta Dompe. Meanwhile, though court had ordered for the judicial medical report with regard to the 8th suspect in the case, Major General Amal Karunasekara, being admitted to the prison's hospital, court is yet to receive it. The acting magistrate ordered for steps to be taken for the report to be presented before court. Prison officials informed court today that Amal Karunasekara is currently receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. Amal Karunasekara was further remanded until the 24th of this month, on which the case will be taken up again.
Deputy Minister of Sustainable Development, Wildlife and Regional Development Palitha Thevara Peruma criticized the wildlife officials for being unsuccessful in chasing away the wild elephants from the Madhunagala area in Suryavava yesterday.
The Deputy Minister arrived in the area around 6 a.m. to chase away the wild elephants away, as the locals in the area have been severely distressed due to the constant threat of wild elephants. Although the Deputy Minister arrived to assist the area residents, wildlife officers were not present. Deputy Minister Palitha Thevara Peruma then went to the Hambanthudu Wildlife Office and inspected the attendance register of the officers.
In local news, a Buddhist monk residing at a temple in Lanka in Ratnapura has strangled and killed a police sergeant who visited the temple on official duties.
The Ratnapura Magistrates Court had issued 2 warrants against the monk of the Lanka Vihara, which falls under the Ratnapura Police Division, in relation to 2 crimes. The police sergeant had visited the area today to obtain information in order to compile a report with regard to the warrants that were scheduled to be produced before court tomorrow. According to a high-ranking officer at the Ratnapura Police, the police sergeant had died after being strangled by the monk following a heated argument which had broken out when he visited the temple to record a statement from the monk. The high-ranking officer added the monk also attempted to hurl a hand grenade at a team of police officers, including the OIC of Ratnapura Police, when they went to arrest him. The monk, who sustained injuries during the incident, was later hospitalized.
The National Chamber of Commerce today signed an agreement with China Federation and Industrial Economics and Heron Investment International Private Limited to promote business ties between Sri Lanka and China.
The National Chamber of Commerce has already been accepted as a member of the Belt and Road Industrial and Commercial Alliance.
And as we all know, a country needs investments to progress. Without investments, country does not progress. You can generate investments through your own reserves with savings. You can generate your own investments through surpluses in trade, both of which don't seem to be happening in Sri Lanka at the moment. There are no savings, or not much. We are definitely not producing surpluses in the trade. So where do we get our investments from? We have to approach funding sources like the BRI for our investments. We don't have a choice unless we want to stay a struggling third world country forever. But it has to be done intelligently, it has to be done carefully, it has to be done with the national interest foremost.
Do you want to contribute to Sri Lanka's progress? Do you want to do something to help our people? Do you want to be part of a movement that is inspiring a nation? You waited long enough. Your moment has arrived.
Gammadda, one force. Let's do it, Sri Lanka. Coming soon.
In some news that many are talking nowadays, in fact, some disturbing news. No arrests have been made as yet in connection with the two shooting incidents which took place in Colombo municipality within the past 2 days. Now, Colombo Municipal Councillor Krishna Pillai Kirubanandan was one of the victims killed in this shooting.
Colombo Municipal Councillor Krishna Pillai Kirubanandan, known commonly as Krishna, was shot and killed down C Street in Adiwal Street around 7:45 last morning. 4 CCTV cameras had captured the incident where the shooter can be seen entering Krishna Pillai Kirubanandan's shop as a customer and shooting the victim.
I came around 7. At around 7:45, a person came and asked for a packet of Milo. I told the other person to get a Milo. Ayya said it was 50 rupees. This person took his wallet out and left it on the counter. From his other pocket, he took a gun out and left it on the counter and shot 3 times. There was a motorbike out front. His face wasn't covered, nor was he wearing gloves. He spoke good Tamil as well.
Krishna Pillai Kirubanandan's remains were placed at his residence in Jindupite Junction, Kochikade this afternoon for public respects. Krishna Pillai Kirubanandan, alias Krishna, contested the recently held local government election under the independent group Navodaya People's Front.
The victim has 2 cases against him relating to marijuana. He is currently on bail. Investigators suspect the motive behind the murder was over drug dispute.
Maybe the fact that our party developed in Colombo within a short span of time was a problem for some politicians. We don't know. We did not think against anyone. There are attempts to accuse some of the members as well. If these accusations were the cause for Krishna's death, it is the duty of the police to investigate it. The police cannot get away with it just by saying that this happened because this person was a criminal. Whether or not he committed a crime should be determined at the police. The police officers cannot take that decision.
The final rights of Elizabeth Pereira and her husband Sellaya Selvaraj, who were killed in the 131 Watta area in Jampara Street, Kotahena, on Sunday night, are scheduled to be conducted tomorrow. A person called Ganesh had been shot close to their shop a week ago. My sister and brother-in-law run a string hopper business there. They had not seen the shooting. They were busy with their business. So they have been shot because they did not provide evidence for the shooting.
On the 24th of last month, a person called Ganesh had been shot and injured. So, the couple who were killed yesterday and Ganesh's faction have had a row for a while. Investigators suspect this shooting may have been carried out over this issue.
Do
you want to contribute to Sri Lanka's progress? Do you want to do something to help our people? Do you want to be part of a movement that is inspiring a nation? You waited long enough. Your moment has arrived.
Gammadda, one force. Let's do it. Sri Lanka, coming soon.
Let's listen to some of the views expressed by the former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
The police are saying drug-related incidents are the reason behind these crimes. I think the government needs to intervene to control this. During Mahinda Rajapaksa's administration, terrorism was defeated and the underworld and drugs were brought to an end. This shows the current government's incapability. We controlled this during our time, but they have been unable to do it now. Even though he has forgotten, we have not. During their time, many journalists were murdered. Pragit Tekneligoda went missing. 87 people were inhumanely tortured. We have also not forgotten the white fans. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who is now shedding crocodile tears, abducted Kumar Gunaratnam of the Frontline Socialist Party using a white van. If Kumar Gunaratnam didn't become a citizen of Australia, he would have gone missing too. Lalit Kugan from the JVP, who was engaged in politics in the north, also went missing, and we have no information of him to date. Sulil Haduneti, who went for a political meeting in Jaffna, was assaulted. Therefore, we ask Gotabaya Rajapaksa if the rule of law collapsed then or now. What about the incident in Ratupasula? What about the murder of Roshen Chanaka in Katunayaka? Isn't this proof of the collapse of the rule of law? Furthermore, didn't they get rid of Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranayaka to get the rule of law into their own hands?
Before we wrap up the news, the Voice for Justice says the current government is taking vengeance by summoning officials of the former government to the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division.
Representing the Voice for Justice, former Provincial Councillor of the United National Party Ajit Niwad Cabral, former Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission Nalaka Godaheva, former Secretary to the Prime Minister S. Amarasekara, former Channel Head of CSN Rohan Valavita, and former Chairman of the National Youth Services Council, Attorney Lalit Pium Pereira, attended the media briefing today.
Are you all-round parties in the previous government?
Which organization are you from? I know where you are from. You listen to me first. Listen here. Some officers holding positions of the top tier in your organization also have such complaints against them. I have to tell you that if you say that the charges against us are true, then there is a possibility that those charges are also true.
Clearly, the perpetual treasuries bond scam, which is the biggest accusation against the current government, you say that a massive scam had been carried out. Who brought PTL to the registered stock markets? It was you.
Is that wrong? That was something that happened back then. Lie number 1, told by former Provincial Councillor of the United National Party Ajit Niwad Cabral. Perpetual Treasuries Limited, which is at the centre of the central bank treasury bond scam, was granted authorization to operate as a primary dealer in 2013 during Ajit Niwad Cabral's tenure as the central bank governor. Was authorization to operate as a primary dealer granted for PTL at a time when its parent company, Perpetual Capital Holdings, didn't even have an adequate capital to operate as a primary dealer without the approval of then governor of the central bank, Ajit Niwad Cabral.
I'm sorry, but my question is not over yet. Wasn't this whole dispute there at that time?
Yes, there is a problem about that dispute for the head of your organization as well as for others. I'm not going to give the answer that you need. You must keep in mind to listen to my answer when I'm answering. There is a charge against Kili Raja Mahendran over frequencies, correct? There is. There is no need for me to tell you that in front of everyone.
I am asking about your sister at PTL during your tenure.
There is. If you continue to ask questions, your heads will face some serious questions. It will be very hard to answer those. Therefore, you think about that. Remember, when you point the finger at others, you also point some fingers at yourself.
I am asking about your sister at PTL during your tenure.
I don't have a sister at PTL.
In 2013.
I have already answered to the commission. I have already told you. If she had any connections to PTL, I would have already been connected to it. It is only your channel that reports as such. Ajit Niwad Cabral's second lie. It is true that at the time of the Treasury bond scam, Ajit Niwad Cabral's sister was not at Perpetual Treasuries Limited. However, Shiromi Vikramasinghe, Ajit Niwad Cabral's sister, served as a member of the board of directors of the parent company of Perpetual Treasuries Limited and was granted permission to operate as a primary dealer while she was in the board of directors, although it had not fulfilled the basic requirements.
Economy Next had published all the details in a report today.
It is this same site which had published about your leadership deal and your frequencies. Different people had published it. If you believe that, you have to believe this as well. Enough questions from you now. Let the others question. Ask something about the Voice for Justice. You are trying to involve something else.
No, it's just the bond transaction.
Do you know about the Greek bonds? Do you know MP Sujiva Senasinghe filed the case? You know, but you are pretending like you don't. Do you know the Supreme Court delivered a verdict? On the 12th of September 2014. Go see for yourself. Lie number 3. Back then, MP Sujiva Senasinghe filed a case on fundamental rights. Even though the fundamental rights case concluded, didn't the court highlight fraud or corruption? How did Mr. Cabral forget that as per the request by the Attorney General's Department, an inquiry must be held by the Bribery Commission, and this inquiry is ongoing?
You spoke about the frequency and the purchase of ships. Could you explain this further?
That's enough for today. Let's talk about it on another day.
Is there an allegation regarding this?
All those incidents you mentioned does not have any allegations.
We spoke of the allegations from the FCID.
That is the answer I gave. There were no complaints regarding the incident taken up by the CID. I spoke to you about the person I complained as well. The entire country is aware of the doings of Ajit Niwad Cabral and Nalaka Godeheva, who are acting as saints now while threatening the media. The investigations being conducted at present by the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division and the Bribery Commission will be taken up before courts in the future. The Greek bond, the tour to obtain the Commonwealth Games, the scams in the stock market are just a few among them. We have reported on those scams on several occasions with enough evidence. Attorney-at-law Lalit Piyum Pereira is a young lawyer among many other clever people with a bright future. We can all remember how he acted tirelessly for the betterment of Sri Lanka during his tenure as the chairman of the National Youth Services Council. Let us not talk about Rohan Valivita, as he is the son of a veteran journalist. S. Amarasekara, who has served as the secretary to the Prime Minister and has held various positions in the government, is also an exceptional individual. What has happened now is not that a glass of milk has been spoilt with a drop of cow dung, but it has been spoilt with a whole pile of cow dung.
Before we wrap up, a quick reminder that the semi-finals of the Football World Cup will begin tonight when Belgium take on France in Russia. And that's a wrap. Do take care and good night.